people from a disadvantaged social background. So that's how I came to the States when I was almost 20 years old. I will not talk to you about statistics and numbers because that's not what I'm here to do. There are people who can do a better job than me over that. But maybe I'll mention a couple of numbers so you can think that I'm smart and I came prepared. But mostly I'm gonna focus on my own experience. My life in the shadows began some 17 years ago. It was a hot April night in Tijuana. That border siren that lures both migrant and tourist, with promises of boundless prosperity and unchecked loss. That night, I joined a numerous army, an anonymous army, under the infinite depth of night and guided by a sneaky coyote. We moved, slowly descending the slopes flattened nightly by the illicit weight of millions of other shadows who preceded us. Denied a legitimate chance at the American dream, what better way to attain it than by penetrating America by night? The stretch between Tijuana and San Diego is long, very long. And it is as treacherous as it is beautiful. It is unlikely that anybody who has ever crossed it will easily forget it. Its desert-like landscape is bound to carve itself equally onto body and soul. Once this turf is trodden, the tiredness, the awe and the terror experienced along these trails become permanent memories. Some take away a cactus scratch that eventually scars. Others momentarily succumb to the sheer magnitude of the heavens, the number of stars, the depth of night. A few are left behind to join the landscape. This dark wonder. For many, like myself, this arid world, these steep hills and deep valleys, provides us with our first hike ever. It is also our first view of such broad sky, our first communion with the infinite. It was probably under pristine and glittering skies like this that Immanuel Kant, bewildered, conceived his mystical dialectic between the starry heavens above and the moral law within. I, lacking all philosophical insight at the time, simply wanted to pause and contemplate this fragment of galaxy. But the coyote had other plans, and we kept pressing forward. Human industry adds its own accents to the native landscape. From the top of a hill, we watch a long line of people advancing hurriedly in the valley ahead of us. Some 200 years earlier, pushing westward in this very spot, they would have been considered pioneers. But the journey they have embarked on came too late, and they are not heading west, but north. And that alone is their disadvantage and their loss. Or if they were in other latitudes and times, based on the determination and enthusiasm that fueled their march, one would be inclined to think of them as troops or pilgrims. But here, they're simply shadows. Suddenly, from a neighboring hill, a series of lights turns on simultaneously. Some come from trucks parked at ground level. Others descend flickering rapidly like a furious shower of shooting stars. For those unfortunate souls, this is as far as the American dream will go. Way up on top, we duck and hide. We wait. We descend again, and I'm glad to hear the coyote say, "Ya estuvo, ya la hicimos." I hear him and feel relieved and sharing the collective enthusiasm. People say, "Órale," and "Chido," and "Ya chingamos." But I still don't understand how it is that we have actually made it. This valley looks as deserted as any other we have passed. Reaching the bottom of the next hill, the coyote takes out a flashlight and points it with his commanding right hand, and then I see it. The miracle of this Mexican Moses, who promises to deliver us from the jaguar's oppression, materializes in front of me. A dark circle opens up ahead, like a surreal, toothless mouth, threatening to devour us. Had the other group made it this far, the migras would have never caught up with them. No migra will ever go down this pipe. Nobody with any human dignity would, so we leave ours behind. We entered the dark cylindrical hole, and I say to myself, so this is it. This is what it means to have made it. The pipe is about 5 feet in height. We dug and entered the filthy bowels of San Diego, where rodents make their home, and humans are unwelcome invaders. The air inside is heavy and damp, and there is a pungent stench to it. I stretch my arms to the sides to find support on the inner walls of the pipe. My hands feel wet and sticky. I feel helpless. Amid the constant sound of shoes hitting the metal below, I sat quietly, traveling in the same direction. Narcotics, on their way to give a high to those who vilify my journey, are transported in a much more humane and sanitary fashion. The humiliation I experience is so deep, I promise myself that if I'm ever caught, I will never try crossing again. Eventually, the darkness ends. We come out, and one by one, we all collapse on the ground. I feel exhausted and sick. My back hurts, and I wonder if I'll ever be able to stand straight up again. One of the things that I knew I needed to do since I first came to the States was to learn English, and that was a goal that I had from the moment I crossed the border.